I have a email here that I want to address on video because I think it's relevant to a lot of people. So rather than just a personal reply, which I have no problem doing, anybody that writes me, you know that I take the time to try and get back to everybody. But this issue could affect many people, so I think it's beneficial, much more beneficial, if I address it this way. And you'll have to forgive me if I seem a little out of it because, man, I've been sick all week long. All week long. Now, I'm guessing just because I was run down with the Arnold, right, with the Arnold we just did, and just ran myself ragged there, which I actually did. My body's not used to that, and yeah, and then coming back home, going straight back to work and so forth and so on, I got sick. And another thing is, I haven't been taking my liposomal C, which now I am again. I swear by that shit. Liposomal vitamin C, if you don't know what it is, don't just jump on here and tell me any bullshit about vitamin C. It doesn't work and you can't take enough of it. If you don't understand what liposomal is first, then educate yourself before you come on here and try and say something outside of your neck. All right. And of course, you know I'm not talking to my regular people because we already know that that's how it goes. You try to educate yourselves. We're all here to help each other. Anyway, liposomal vitamin C. If you don't know what it is, you are missing out, so you should check it out. This email I got here came from Anthony. His name is Anthony, and it's about weight. And he says, "My name is Anthony. I've been fat since I was 13. I'm now 28. Lost the excuses. I've lost 31 pounds. Congratulations, Anthony. That's nothing to sneeze at. Good job. That's a start. But I'm just cutting calories. Minimal exercise. I'm afraid if I just cut, I'll be skin and bones in the end. How do I retain the little muscle I have while still cutting? Thanks for the time." All right. Well, the whole thing is this. You can't starve it off anymore. A lot of people starve it off, and then what do they have when they're finished? Not saying it doesn't work. Not saying it's not pleasing, and people enjoy great success doing things that way, but we're largely bodybuilders here. That's pretty much what we do here is... if you get to the core of it, we do a lot more than that, but we also are bodybuilders. I'm a bodybuilder. We're interested in the preservation and development of muscle. So when we want to get rid of fat, we do not starve it off. That's old school thinking. That's, some things from the old school worked because we overthink some things and we over-criticize some things, and now you have people who are Google masters. And they will try to give you instructions on everything that they can't achieve because they can tell you what they've read about it. Well, an encyclopedia can give you that information, but an encyclopedia isn't going to have you wake up tomorrow, lighter, leaner, harder, more muscular, or whatever your goals are. Harley! And apparently her goal was to interject herself in my video diatribe or whatever the hell. Anyway, Brother Anthony here. So that's the deal there. We don't starve off anything here. That's old school. So when we say diet, we're not really starving off body mass. Instead, we're burning it off. You burn it off through exercise. Thermogenically, you burn it off. And then that way you still have sufficient calories and sufficient nutrition to not only support the muscle that you already have built, right? The parts of your body you want to keep. But also, hopefully, if done correctly, you can also continue to acquire new muscle. You want to preserve all your muscle. You don't want to lose muscle as you diet down. And if you do it correctly, bang on, there's no reason for that to happen. Now, first time you try it or whatever, you're feeling your way through, you're going to probably lose some muscle. But it ain't going to be anything like if you just starve everything off. If you cut calories and starve everything off, you are doing something that is so prehistoric. And yes, most people still do it. And yes, there are even competitive bodybuilders who do it. But are there any pro bodybuilders who do it? No. You bet your sweet ass there ain't any pro bodybuilders doing things that way. Instead, we want to burn the fat off. We want to burn the fat off and still provide, still provide enough nutrition and enough calories that we can at the same time at least keep all the muscle we have, if not actually gain muscle. It's not uncommon. Most guys in today's world, we will gain muscle even when we're at our very leanest as we're coming into a show. You usually can gain a little bit of muscle at the very end when you have room to play a little bit, right? So how do you do that? Well, you do that through thermogenesis. You want to burn fat off through exercise. And you can also do that in your diet. Like I've told you guys plenty of times, my loyal members of our Gorilla with a Cause family here, everybody knows this. It's just the way we do things. What we do when we want to get lean is you turn the protein up. Turn the protein up, and we want to create a thermogenic environment. We want to burn the body fat off, and we do that through manipulation of macros and also in food selection, not just the macros, but the sources of those macros change, and through cardio, burn it off through cardio as well. But we do not starve it off, which is in essence which a lot of people are doing. Traditional, typical dieting, they're starving it off, and you cannot selectively just starve off body fat. You're starving the whole body. If you're starving it, you're starving the whole fucking organism. So we don't want to do that, and typically that's the way people diet. There's not much intelligence involved in that approach to a diet. Starve myself, that can pretty much be easily accomplished without a whole lot of planning, right? What kind of control? It takes a little self-control. You stuck on a desert island somewhere, you're going to starve yourself lean, and malnourished actually. So what you want to do is you want to provide, protein is thermogenic in itself. So you want to turn the protein up higher, okay? I turn my protein up, and this is all par for the course. Everybody here already should know this, but people who don't know it, if you haven't been around here long enough yet, this is how I do it, how we do it, and it's proven successful 100% of the time. And this is also how most pro bodybuilders do it. And doesn't matter if your thing is not bodybuilding, you don't even want to look like a pro bodybuilder, you think it's disgusting and revolting in appearance, that's fine. But you got to give them credit that who gets in the most extreme physical conditioning? Pro bodybuilders. Nobody goes further beyond that. And their objective is to maintain as much lean muscle mass as possible, right? Lowest body fat levels, highest amount of hard muscle. How do you do that? Well, burn it off thermogenically. So you got to create that environment. So protein is very thermogenic. Excuse me, I told you I'm feeling under the weather. Protein's very thermogenic. So if you turn that protein up high, okay, most people would assume that bodybuilders and people concerned with building muscle, we're going to have a high protein intake, which is true for the average person. But to be real, we found out through the years that we do not need as much protein as we once thought, and it's actually not really healthy just to build muscle. So when I build muscle, for instance, I take in about half the protein that I'm taking in when I'm trying to get lean. That's the key. When I want to get big, it only takes like half the protein that it takes when I want to get lean. When I want to get lean, then I need a lot more protein. When I want to get big, I'm taking in more complex carbohydrates. The protein is lower, believe it or not. And it's not just me. It's pretty much everybody that knows what they're doing today. That may not have trickled down yet, but all the pro bodybuilders are getting the most extreme conditioning. I'm not saying anything that's esoteric knowledge. They all know this. It's well known, well established, and practiced and applied. So we want to get the protein. When you decide to get lean, protein is thermogenic. You can burn as much as 40% of your daily intake of total calories just from running high protein if you get those macros in the right order. So you turn the protein up high, higher than you would to build muscle, almost twice as high as you would build muscle. And that's already considering that you're not one of these people that still thinks you need to take in like insane amounts of protein to build muscle, because you do not. You do not. To give you my own personal numbers, I probably take in no more than 300 grams of protein a day to build muscle. If I'm hell bent on building muscle between, like, say, now and what's the next show I want to do? I want to go to the Olympia. Isn't that where I want to go next? I think so. So if we're going to go to the expo, then and Gorilla with the Calls, and I want to be big as possible this time around, then I'm going to turn my protein is only going to be about maybe 300 grams a day. 300 grams. So I'm shooting for ideal pound per pound of body weight. And it's an overestimation, not by a lot, but it's an overestimation. So I'm looking for 300 grams of protein. And typically, like right now, if I just want to maintain or I just want to be a little jive bigger, I'm going to probably take in, and I'm pretty good size now, but I'm going to still take in probably between 250, 260, 280 grams of protein a day. That's all that I need, and I can get bigger with that, really. When I go to get ready to, make any kind of appearance, if I'm going to go to the Olympia, and I want to be really big, then that's probably all I need. I need 300 grams max or less of protein a day. That's it. Now, if I want to get lean, then I'm going to take in quite a bit more protein than that, because protein in itself is thermogenic. So not only am I still providing an anabolic environment, because the muscle is saturated with protein more than it needs to be muscle, more than it needs to build muscle, much less just maintain. But it kind of folds in on itself. It collapses in on itself at a point with this protein so high. And it's very thermogenic. I can burn, like I said, quite a bit of my daily intake of nutrition and calories just through how much protein I take in. If I turn that protein up, say, I don't know, if I'm taking in 300 grams or less because I want to get bigger, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the carbohydrates down. Carbohydrates are going to be up when I want to get big. I can actually get big on 250 grams of protein a day, not even pound for pound. Not even pound for pound, I'm good to get up to about 280 pounds of body weight, very muscular. At about 250, 260 grams of protein a day, I can pull that off if everything else is right. But the carbohydrates are going to be up there too. That's going to be some pretty high complex carbohydrates. Now, if I want to go to get lean, carbohydrates are coming down. Carbohydrates are coming down, and protein is going up to replace that. So now that protein that I might take in, 300 is just that would be the highest number I would need. And that would be if I were like really, really sincere. Then to get lean, I'm going to take in probably, I can only tell you numbers I've taken in getting ready for shows back in the day. Last show I did, my protein mark was the highest number that I was trying to achieve. I'm not even going to tell you because it's going to prejudice you and it's going to give you this crazy amount of protein that you don't need to take. So let's just say if you would normally take 150 grams of protein a day to 200 grams of protein a day to gain muscle, if that's where you think you're at and that would work for you and you'd be gaining muscle off of that, then to get lean, you're going to cut your carbohydrates down and you're going to replace that with protein. So the protein percentages are going to go up. So typically I will run people at like, maybe 50% protein. Maybe 50% of their daily intake of their diet might be protein when they're getting cut. When I'm trying to lean them down. So that's still a lot of protein. So I'm not really taking away from calories. You understand? Whatever your caloric number is that you're trying to get big on, when I go to diet you, I'm not really changing that number very much, if at all. Depends on how accurate you were, right? When you picked that number and you were working with that, how well that worked for you. If that was a good number and you were on track, I'm not changing that number. That's when my diet is going to have the biggest bang for you is when I don't have to change that number. That number needs to remain consistent. Those calories stay the same. Get big or get cut, lean. Calories stay the same. Gain weight or lose body fat, calories stay the same. It's the macros I rearrange. All right? Whereas getting big, less protein, more carbohydrates, fats are always going to be about the same. And actually getting big, fats are going to be, if one has to be lower than the other at any given period, fats are going to be lower when you want to get big. When you want to get lean, I may bring those carbs down really low. I may come up on healthy fats a little bit, but I'm going to go up on that protein. That protein is going to take up for the numbers that the carbohydrates leave to lack when I pull that down. Understand what I'm saying? So your same overall caloric intake a day is going to be about the same. And to tell you the truth, if you got a good number, getting big with your overall calories a day, all I'm going to do is rearrange the macros. If I can take that number and rearrange those macros, boom! If that was a good number for you, then we're really going to see big bang out of that diet when we rearrange that macro. And then we're going to, of course, burn it off. But normally, I won't do any cardio, and I don't want you to have been doing any cardio prior to getting ready to cut up or to get lean, because I don't want that influence in there to dirty up my findings, okay? When I roll the diet on, I want to have 2 weeks of just seeing what the diet by itself, in and of itself, does to your body. I should see fat loss. I'm not looking for a miracle at that point without the stimulation of cardio, without any cardio. I'm not looking for big, huge bang, but I'm looking for noticeable, legitimate fat loss in that first 2 weeks. As soon as I see that, I know I'm in a good spot to start from, and then I'll turn the cardio up as I deem appropriate and step it up very little bit by little bit. And then we will burn off, we will burn the fat off, but we're still feeding the body and feeding the muscle and providing an anabolic environment while at the same time burning off the body fat. That's the way you do it. You burn the body fat off. You don't starve it off. See, the guy is asking me questions and he's baffled because he doesn't want to starve his body, and that's a smart thing. You shouldn't want to starve your body. Most people that are heavy, fat, and they decide they're too fat, so they want to lose fat, they starve it off because they just want the numbers to go down. They want the scale to go down. Okay? They're going to lose muscle. They're going to lose fat. They'll lose it all. Then at the end, they're going to be happy because that's going to be a win for them because their body's going to be a lot lighter. And they're going to feel good, and they should. They've still made an accomplishment. They made a huge life change. But now, once that settles in, they're looking in the mirror. Now they're going to have to tighten that shit up. Now they're going to have to start to bring in some exercise. Now they're going to have to, a lot for that in the diet, and they have to do some other things to get where they want to be. The way that I propose to do it and the way that I do it regularly with everybody, we're doing both at the same time. Okay, that's why it's called bodybuilding. We don't tear it down, then build it up. What we do is we build it, and then when we decide, okay, I want to see how much muscle is actually under here. First of all, the way that we would do it ideally, we don't want to gain like a ridiculous amount of body fat to begin with. We do want to gain some, and that's a whole other topic. Whole other topic, why? Whole other topic, because fat's very anabolic. We don't want to look at it, but it is useful on the body at times. I'm not saying within reason now, within reason. All right, so, and everybody is a little bit different. But when we go to come down, no, you don't want to have to just lose all the weight and just go catabolic and all that to get the fat off and starve your body, because then you're starving the whole body. The complete organism starves. And then in the end, what are you going to look like? You're going to lose muscle. You're not just going to lose body fat, you're going to lose muscle. You ain't even doing both at the same time, both through thermogenesis. Then I can selectively burn the body fat. The body will burn the body fat first. And so as long as I provide enough of an anabolic environment and I have plenty of protein on hand, remain in a positive nitrogen balance, I'm going to not only maintain my muscle, but, and I hesitate to tell this to people because they just can't fathom it if they haven't heard of this or unfamiliar with it, which every pro bodybuilder out there knows what I'm saying is 100% on the money. But yet, nobody knows what the hell's going on. I mean, few do, but most people, it doesn't trickle down. There are guys competing at national level that have no idea how to do this. No idea. And if you're a super heavyweight, you can't afford not to know, dude. Anybody that's a super heavyweight. You can't afford not to know, because this is your game 100%. Because every pound of muscle, that's going to count. It's going to count. You need that. So we burn it off. We don't starve it off anymore. So that's how we do it, and that's how you should do it, and you're correct. You're correct. So all you want to do is rearrange your macros. Please forgive me if I am not exactly clear. I don't come across or come through as concise as I would like to today. I've been sick for a frigging week, and I'm just playing catch up. So this is the best I got right now. I apologize for any deficiency in my presentation or explanations. But that's that. Any questions or anything, feel free to please email me, and I will try to become more specific and clarify whatever parts you're still a little bit stuck on. Take care. Have an awesome day. Best of luck.